At the beginning of the triangular sawing method, we set the piece perpendicular to the vise. This ensures that we create a perfectly horizontal cut as long as we keep the blade of the tenon saw parallel to the vise. This is very important. It allows you to create a good, accurate saw cut. As previously talked in the previous video, it's very important to use your thumb as a guide to ensure you're creating a good, accurate saw cut. But ensure that your finger is away from the cutting edge to prevent injury. As you can see, I'm using the full length of the tenon saw, using the whole lot of the teeth. This allows the pieces of material to be removed as the saw is moving back and forth. This also prevents the saw from jamming and getting stuck in the piece. In this, we only saw down 5mm down the piece just to create a nice accurate horizontal line in which we can use for the development of the process. Creating this 5mm line, it creates a pivot point in which we can develop on and use as we continue out the sawing process. It's always important to cut the piece on the waist side of the line. As you can see, I've turned the piece at 45 degrees in the vise. This allows us just to focus on 2 lines at a time, and also it allows the saw cut that we've created with the 5mm down to act as a guide to help our saw cut all the way down to the line. When doing this process, it's very important to keep the saw parallel to the bench and the vise, as it creates an accurate, more precise cut. Why do we cut parallel to the vise? This allows the saw and our hand movement to stick in one continuous motion. It also provides good accuracy and precision throughout our sawing and doesn't involve any tilting of angles or movement along the piece. This is why it's very important to keep the saw parallel to the vise, as shown in the video. This also allows for a good accurate cut down the end grain, which we've already created, and also down with the grain. Once we have one side done, we can turn the piece over and position it in 45 degrees again. Once again, this is the same principles as previously talked about. This allows us to keep the saw parallel to the vise and focus on 2 lines at a time. This allows for the precision and accuracy of the lines to be correct and spot on if we use the saw correctly. It's very important to keep the saw parallel to the vise to ensure good, accurate, precision cut. The final process of the triangular sawing is to position the piece perpendicular to the vise. This finishes off the process to create a good, accurate horizontal line. Positioning it 90 degrees in the vise allows us to keep the saw parallel to the vise and create a good, accurate cut. This allows us to ensure that both shoulder lines are accurate on either side. This is why we turn the piece perpendicular to the vise so we can keep our saw parallel to the vise. This allows to create one smooth motion cut and also create a nice shoulder line in which we can use for the rest of our project.